Dan, I haven't had a chance to talk to you on camera. I've seen you around lots of fights, though. Every week you're just about out, and you've got some boys going pretty good.
Yeah, no, I do. So my gym's pretty busy. We had, I think it was like 4 or 5 weekends back to back. We're in New Plymouth and moving all around the country, down in Christchurch as well on the XFC card. Got those fights out of the way. Took a couple of weeks where no one kind of had fights, and it's a bit of a holiday, but then I think we got some big fights coming up. Fighting for a New Zealand title, one of my fighters on the next, what is that show? On Terry show coming up. I think that's the 12th of December, so just before the Jackson Parker fight. So it's all starting to get busy again. So that's how I like it. I like being busy. I like working with my fighters and keeping them on track too.
Well, there's a couple that I've been keeping a notice. Mike Helg and Nate Law. They've been going really well.
Yeah, they have. Mike was unlucky in the weekend. He come up against a real strong opponent. So I think he'll take a little bit of time and jump straight back in. He's already back in the gym. I caught him in the gym last night, so he's back in the gym. Just making those small little adjustments, little improvements, and he'll be back out there. Nate, that's the kind of kid you got to put on break. You know, he walked in the gym, started last year, and he's had 10 fights, I think. So it's good he's just been fighting pretty much every show. So it's good to give him a little bit of time to a little bit of an off season. People forget that combat sports doesn't really have an off season. But just with a young, hungry fighter, that you don't want them to burn out, so you give them a little bit of a rest.
Well, talking about tough fighters and, and hard work, I haven't spoken to you since Dustin Poirier. That was a fight that was almost there for you.
Oh yeah, I definitely knew what I was doing. Going bombs away in the second round. Like I felt him fade. I saw in his eyes a couple of times, and I clipped him that he wasn't really there and he wasn't responding. I knew it was like a short camp, but I was like, well, I'm going to try to. I knew that's a decision. That's like a choice you make as a fighter, you know. I could have saved that energy and dispersed it a little better throughout the remaining rounds, but I tried to get him out of there. I went guns blazing, went for glory, and that's just part of the game. You got to win those things. I knew as soon as I just unloaded the tank and the bell went, and Herb pulled me away because I wasn't going to stop swinging. Herb pulls me up, and I was just like, oh well. This next 15 minutes is going to be, it's going to get pretty rough in the next 15 minutes, but hey, this is what you sign up for. You sign up for 25 minutes, you stick it out for the 25 minutes. Yeah, I'm not the type of fighter to be like, oh well, next time. Yeah. You got to gut it out to the finish line.
Yeah, brilliant. And the thing that I noticed, I saw you at King in the Ring like a fortnight after that fight, and your complexion was like a baby. You must be the quickest healer in New Zealand.
Yeah. That's like people don't think, they don't see. I don't usually post pictures up straight after, and people are like, oh, you got beat up quite bad in that fight. It's like that happens in a lot of fights. I could show you my last 5, 6, 7 fights, and I've got, I've looked pretty much the same, but by the time I jumping back in pictures or people see you, you're all healed up. So it's kind of, I just wanted to show everyone, like, it's not all, sunshine and rainbows. This is the fight game. Like this is like the reality of it,
Well, it's real tight up the top of your division there. Have you got any inkling of who you're going to have next, or?
I have like an inkling, just because the UFC's told me just hold and wait, and they're just trying to think, because I think everyone's just hanging around to see if I think Dustin and Conor don't want to sign unless it's for the title, right? Like they want to fight for the title, and Khabib's retired. The UFC, if it was any other division, would be stripping Khabib's title because he's retired and have someone else fight for it. So those two are set to fight in January, but they don't want to sign the contract unless it's for the belt. And then if they're not signing, then the guys just below them don't want to sign. So it's just everything eventually will fall into place once that Conor-Dustin fight gets made. Then I think it's Tony Chandler, and that leaves Gagey for me. So I think that's a pretty exciting fight. That's a fight I've called for a few times in the past. So I think Justin Gagey will be my next fight.
Any idea of a time frame on it? Or
No,
just
no idea
depend?
from the UFC. You know, I don't think that's that just being realistic. That's a main event fight. You know, you can't have that. That's got to be 25. That's got to be in the main event spot. That's not a co-main event fight.
No way.
So it's a little more difficult when it's like because the co-mains get set like 3 or 4 months in advance. So it's just finding like an empty slot for that fight to fill, you know. And I know KG's a kind of guy that wants a full camp, wants a full 10 weeks, full 12 weeks. So I don't think that fight realistically will be there till February, March.
You look back on not just your own year, 2020, the gym and that. How do you sum it all up?
Crazy, just with all the lockdowns and you know, it's something that we've never experienced. It really made you like grateful for what we did have, you know, because I just was taking it for granted. I was taking it for granted that we could travel overseas. I was taking it for granted, you know, having all these fights fall into place the way you vision them fall into place, and then this huge global pandemic shuts the world down. So I'm grateful that I was still able to go to work. Like a lot of other fighters in the tier below, they can't get out of the country. They can't, you know, they don't have people pulling strings and getting them visas and getting them over to the States and getting them over to Abu Dhabi. So yeah, it just made me pretty grateful for what we have and really soak it in and enjoy it.
Oh, well, we look forward to next year, 2021, mate.
It's coming.
Hey, thanks for talking to us, Dad.
Cheers, son.